Namo Buddhaya. As you know, when I arrived here in Thailand, I was on tudong, so walking in a general direction. I knew where I was heading to. I was able to get a bus and a ticket to this area, and as a bhikkhu, as a monk on tudong, when you arrive at a Thai Forest Buddhist Monastery, one of the first things they do is check that you have all of the necessary requisites still in place. You've been fed, you're well, if you need any medicines, and these courtesies. And here I came, ate, so that was the meal taken care of at the appropriate time. And then when I arrived to stay the following day, one of the first things the abbot, the Ajahn here, did was took away my bowl, my alms bowl, my PINDAPATA, which was a bit worrying because he didn't take it far or for long, but I thought, oh, this is one of my only things in the world. Now, we don't get attached, we try to work on attachment to things, but of course as a bhikkhu we only have 8 things, so you look after them very carefully. So this is a form of attachment, but to some extent it's a wholesome form of attachment. It's more a caring for the precious value of these important parts of your life. So the alms bowl is for us to collect food, to eat out of. It keeps us alive. It's our livelihood. It's like a carpenter's tools. Our robes protect us from the heat, from the cold, from the biting insects, from our modesty. These are very important, so we look after them. We have rules. If we make a little hole bigger than a matchstick, it must be sewn up or patched before dawn the following day. Our days are a monk's day, a bhikkhu's day, is dawn until the following dawn. Dawn being about 10-20 minutes before sunrise, when you can see the lines of the palm of your hand in natural light. And this is in the morning, at the time when we go also on almsround, which I'm going to talk about. So one of the first things that happened when I arrived here was they asked me if I was okay, and requisites and food, and I was. And the Ajahn, the abbot, then a little bit later took my bowl away and replaced it with what is a far more substantial PINDAPATA, which is an alms bowl. It is a little larger, a better carrying case and handle, and a traditional Thai rattan stand, because we eat not at tables, on the floor in the sala, actually on the raised platform for the monks, because the lay people offering are a little lower on the floor, on mats on the floor, and we sit with this in front of us, so it's like a little table, so our bowl is at a sensible height. And he offered me this, which I very gratefully accepted, and took away my old bowl. And I thought, oh, my old bowl that's been with me for 3, 4, 5, whatever years that I've slept with, because we mustn't be parted with these requisites overnight. We make a determination to that effect. So a little sadness arose, and I thought, this is attachment to this old bowl, but this is a much better bowl. And I thought, still there's some feelings there. That bowl has been a friend to me through some very difficult and also some very wonderful and enjoyable times. It's always been there. And especially since I've been a monk over the last 3 years, when you mustn't be parted from it ever. And it was interesting watching the mind, but I appreciated the gesture, what was happening. And of course, when we went on almsround the following morning, I realized this is substantial. It doesn't move around in its carrying casing. It supported my robes. It contained a lot more food from the generosity of DÀNA that's given in this country. So a little bit for that reason it's slightly bigger. generally what happens, alms round is a very important, integral part of the monk's day here, and also the lay people's day. It's not when I was in India, I kept it up as a traditional ceremonial activity to some extent, and that is to some extent how it works in many non-Buddhist countries, and sometimes just on special occasions. Here, the lay people, all of the people, just get up early, someone in the family every day, cook rice, make preparations of food, knowing that just at dawn the sanghas, the monks, will come from different monasteries, walk through the villages, through the town, collecting alms. And they are giving. It's dāNA, one of the first of parami, dāNA, giving, generosity, and a wholesome mental state that is being developed by the simple process of offering food to somebody. And this activity of the monks going to receive food gives everybody the opportunity to give. And each household, one member perhaps puts 1 spoon of rice in your PINDAPATA. But of course many households, many family members are doing this, so it's a lot of rice. The bowl is full at the end of alms round here. But it doesn't feel like you're going out on ceremonial duties. It feels a part of you as a monk. And clearly from their demeanour, their smiles, just the feeling you get, it's an integral and part of the people giving's lives too. And it's something that cannot really be described. It's so real and so much a part of the day. So I can fully understand why one of the first things that was offered to me was this more substantial and traditional Thai style PINDAPATA. So this is one aspect of coming here to live in this monastery, stay in this monastery, that has again reinforced the basis, the foundations of my confidence in this practice and as a monastic in this practice. Because very often as a monastic in non-Buddhist places, you do feel a little separate from society. Now the huge difference here is if you were to walk into 7-Eleven, and I've done this whilst I was on my way here, 7-Eleven is like a, what would you call it? I think it's called that in most countries. We don't have them in England. In England there would be one stop, I think, something like that. It's an all 24-hour 7, as the name implies, 7-Eleven, but that really means 24 hours a day, so it should be 7-7. One of these chains. In this particular town there's kind of 5 in one road. But you, as a monk, you walk into one of these places and someone would come and say, what do you want? Just a member of the public. Oh, well, I don't know, I'm just looking. Do you want something to eat? Yes. They'll find you something, and they'll go and pay for it and give it to you. That's how it is, because they know you can't buy it and it needs to be offered. So you don't feel separate, you feel part of their lives and they become part of yours. It is a wonderful feeling. Now, what was I going to talk about today? I think that will do, because having received the PINDAPATA, of course the other requisites are also needed to be ensured that are in place, because you are not on tudong. Whilst you're staying in the monastery, you need all of the necessary little extras. So for instance, you have this, I don't know if you can see that, this is what we would call a handkerchief. It's just a small square of cloth folded in the correct manner. Even this small handkerchief has to be folded neatly like this, and I've been instructed because I'd forgotten. I just folded it normally, but no, it has to be folded in a special way. This is for after we've, certain times it's necessary to cover our bowl when the lid isn't on it, and during the eating part of the morning blessings and so on and so forth. And this all comes from what is called the monastery core wat, and the monastery core wat is like the bylaws of each monastery. And in the Thai Forest tradition, they all have a similar and same core wat. So I'm very fortunate to have having been, if you like, brought up in the Thai Forest tradition with that core wat. I know if you want to drink something, even water, you must be sitting down, even squatting on the floor, never standing up. Various things like this. If I didn't know that, I wouldn't be able to just walk into a monastery like this, because I wouldn't behave correctly. You wouldn't be doing anything wrong, but you wouldn't fit in. You would look out of place to the lay people. You'd be like a square peg in a round hole. With the knowledge of this core wat, which isn't, this is aside, this is separate from the Vinaya, our 227 Bhikkhu rules, and all of the other rules for monastic life. It's aside from that. This is like bylaws, extra little points of etiquette. But when I began in Thai Forest Monasteries and have continued. When you've been brought up in those, it serves you well when you visit all other monasteries also. If that's your common denominator, you cannot go wrong, because it's a very high, what would you call it, base target level. This has helped me a lot. And on Tu Dongin you can know what to expect. So the first thing you can expect is that they will ask that you have all the requisites, and you've been fed, and you do need any medicine, do you need razors, toothpaste, this and all of this stuff, because they know you've been travelling. So there was this piece of cloth, another couple of pieces of cloth, an extra one of these, what's called an angsa, this little, it's a t-shirt, is it? These things they take care of as soon as you arrive, so that you're comfortable, you're not lacking anything, and you're not out of place. And then of course they give you your kuti, your accommodation, and they ask you if that's suitable, if it's okay, if it's acceptable, and of course it is. So it's all dana, it's all just giving, 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 generosity, from the monastics to other monastics, and monastics to the lay people, from the lay people to the monastics. This is the difference, the feeling of being in a Buddhist country, where that is all around you all of the time. And it's reminded me, having not been here for 3 years, it's reminded me of that. And it's enabled me to also relax deeply into my meditation without anything to think about other than, well, there's really actually nothing for me to think about, because everything else comes as automatic. I would know what time to wake up in the morning, and that happens automatically. The bell rings when it's, the suitable time. It rings at 4 o'clock. I think that's in case someone hasn't woken up. At 5 I can go to the sala, prepare the PINDAPATA, you put water in it, make sure it's emptied and drained, ready for going on almsround, and then at 5:30 we go off on almsround. So these are just daily routine, automatic things. Then there is time, late morning through the afternoon. You can do some little chores, some tasks. We do some sweeping. This is our duties, if you like, our chores, which is actually really a pleasure to be sweeping forest paths. There's nothing more enjoyable than that, really, as an activity. It's exercise, you're seeing nature, you're doing a good job. As soon as you've swept a path of leaves are coming back. But of course if you didn't, you'd lose the paths, and if it rains they become slippery, so it needs to be done. But it's a reminder of anicca, dukkha, anatta. It's a reminder that everything is going on all of the time. So twice a day, this sweeping. It takes less than an hour, but it's enjoyable, and it really forms part of the day in the practice. So you can really understand why senior monastics, when you read their biographies, who have been monks for 50, 60 years, in their biographies turned up at a monastery and like 30, 40 years later went to a different one. You can see where that 30, 40 years can go. In my case, I know where it would go. I should be dead at the end of that at my age, but I can very easily see how 10 years could just disappear in this situation, but not in an unwholesome way, in a very productive way, because the time you have for meditation it's available, but it is so able to be dedicated to that meditation, because you don't have to be thinking about the future and you don't have to be thinking about the past. There is no past, there is no future. It is the same each day. Each morning the bell will ring, there will be alms round, you'll eat, and then another day begins. Puja in the evening. Again, here it's not much in terms of, there's just the one puja in the evening in the temple, some chanting, some meditation. It's very relaxed, a few people there. It's very beautifully done. Choreographed, is that the right word? If you like. It's monastic life in this tradition is like that, choreographed. I don't think that's the right word, but it runs so smoothly because of the core what? Because of the Buddha's teachings also, how the Vinaya supports our Sila, because we all have the same common aim. We're eating the same food, wearing the same clothes, living in the same conditions. It's something more than teamwork, more than family life. It's those and so much more. Yet you have solitude. I won't see another person to speak to from, say, 9:45 in the morning until 4 o'clock this afternoon when we go for evening puja. And then, not really to speak much, just puja, and then return to our practice. So, with this gratefully received new Pindapata and my little bits of cloth, which I neatly fold, I'm enjoying my time here, and I'm not telling you this by way of a postcard saying, oh, I'm having a great time, wish you were here. I'm telling you this because you can also practice this at home. You can just give up those slightly unnecessary aspects of your life. This is nekama, this is renunciation. Some things, many things we do. And remember, I was a lay person for a lot longer than I've been a monk. So much that I did in my life I did not need to do. And when I slowly started cutting out the things that were unnecessary, just activities that I thought were fun, say watching the same soap opera each day or whatever, or going to a particular cafe place for a coffee, at a certain time. All of these things we do habitually. We can review, we can reflect upon in our daily reflections, which again I'll remind you are very important each evening, each night, to reflect on what you've done in the day. Have you been developing wholesome mind states and reducing unwholesome mind states? If one of your activities is to always watch the 10 o'clock news at night before you go to bed, I'd suggest that's an unwholesome mind state. You don't need to. And it does you no good at all. If it's important, you'll get to know about it. It's just one example, but there are many things, and if you slowly reduce those things, I'm not saying you'll be in exactly my situation, but you'll be going towards this situation. Then your meditation will come easily, naturally, and be also an integral part of your day. And all that surrounds you, all beings, the little animals, the creatures in the forest, and the people in the busier towns. In a Buddhist country, they understand that you're a meditative person. So they become part of your meditation also. So you don't stop meditating, go into town, and it's all bah. No. You get up from meditation. You change posture. The Buddha taught us that meditation is in 4 postures: sitting, standing, walking, and lying down. So we're sitting, we get up and we're standing. We're walking on PINDAPATA. And then later, or in the morning, I've had no occasion and will have no occasion to go into town now, but if you do, for travelling or to go to the visa office or something like this, your meditation continues. You're just moving the body. The mind can remain level, equanimous, unaffected by the vicissitudes of life. And when everyone around you understands this also, it is appreciated by them as you are setting the boundaries, you are setting the example, giving the example, showing, demonstrating happiness that can be derived from this practice. So you can live this way with a family, with work. Just slow down. And when you slow down, you don't have to stop. But even if you stop, you can watch, see, observe, and really understand how your physical feelings are, your emotional feelings are, how you are reacting or choosing not to react and instead distract. And see where you are developing wholesome ways forward rather than unwholesome aspects which are holding you back. And this is the practice. This is the practice for monks. This is the practice for lay people. Always when I say monks, I am saying monastics, I am saying nuns also. Forgive me if I don't do the gender thing often enough, but we're in an equal world. But I live in a monastery with just monks. There are nuns, but they're very separate from us. They are at the... In fact, I really rarely see them. So it's nice to know there are nuns here being supported also by the lay people. But we don't, there's no mixture. So I think that'll do for today. I didn't really have any questions that I've got round to looking at properly to answer, so I didn't have anything specific to talk about, and I hope that's all right. It's yeah, we'll leave it at that. I'm going to get back to my meditation now, and if you can also, it's Sunday, I think. Sunday is a good day for most people in the West to take some time out, isn't it? And even if you go and sit in the park, or you sit in, if it's cold, sit in your house and take some time to be kind to yourself and look inwardly. Don't read, don't think, don't try and stop thinking. Just stop and watch thinking. Just that. And when you do that, you'll start to see the space between the thoughts. If you're in a noisy environment, just stop and listen. Listen to the noise. Is it noise? Or is it you? To me, this sounds peaceful here, but if I really listen, there's no silence. There's birds, there's insects, there's geckos, there's all manner of noises, dogs, that I'm not hearing because I'm associating that with pleasant jungle, forest sounds. But if someone had a pneumatic drill, even if it was quieter than a cicada or a gecko, I'd notice it. Do you notice the fridge humming? Not really. But when it turns off, when the thermostat kicks in and it stops, whoa, silence. Now you can be that thermostat with sound. Let it just be that. Hearing is sound, is just hearing. Hearing sound, just that. Like seeing is just seeing, just that. Close your eyes. And there you can find silence in the space between sounds. And this is where our peace is. Because wherever you are, even in a silent room, there is the sound, the silence of the noise of your mind, your thinking, verbally, musically, pictorially. It's all there. It's how we watch it, how we listen to it. Smell it, taste it, feel it. It's self-generated. So look at this and sit quietly for a short time and enjoy that. A breath in through the nose. Enjoy that 2 or 3 times. It brings you right back down to earth in a good way, a solid foundation, a supportive base for letting go of all that's been going on before, the past, and all that you are imagining is going to happen in the future. This is just imagination. All that we have is this current, present moment. And that is in each and every breath, with you, here and now. It's just that. So, may your practice be fruitful, and may your path lead you towards freedom from suffering in this lifetime, and ultimately Nibbana. Sukhi Hotu, Sukhi Hotu, Sukhi Hotu.